Tucker Carlson recently had a fiery exchange with Bild's Paul Ronsheimer, who's a German, I guess you could call him podcaster or journalist of sorts. And they discussed loads of things. And one of the things that they had a fiery exchange about is obviously the state of Europe at the moment being taken over by the likes of Islamists, which is really sad to actually see because you have, well, most of Europe was founded on Christianity or Christendom, right? And now Europe and its identity is being erased by, you guessed it, Islam. They're allowing so many immigrants in, and the safety of people, the actual European people, they're not feeling like they are safe to walk the streets of anywhere in Germany, let alone Paris, anywhere in the UK nowadays, like Luton or Rochdale or all the other places, even just London, for example. It's all changed. Everything has gotten progressively worse. Why is that? Why are Muslims coming over and taking over, as it would seem? Now, the interesting part about this whole entire debate is Tucker Carlson saying a particular word, which I don't know why he used this word, but a homogenous Europe, which means alike or the same kind of. And James Lindsay has responded by going, a homogenous Europe is the woke rights version of the left's AANHPI pretending something extremely ethnically diverse is homogenous based on the most superficial characteristics of bad political reasons. You can just say Muslims are a threat to Europe and be clear, but you won't hear Tucker Carlson say anything about that. Now, I want to show you this little moment because Tucker is asked about Iran having a nuclear bomb and goes on this long-winded rant and finishes with, that's why you sleep with your assistant of some kind. Anyway, it's weird. Have a watch.
Trump says Iran must not have a nuclear bomb. That's what he said publicly in your direction.
I think a better way to say it is we don't want Iran to have a bomb. That reflects how I feel. I don't want Iran to have a bomb. I don't want anyone to have a bomb. I'm kind of against nuclear weapons, as Trump is and has said many times. He's very upset by the destructive power of nuclear weapons. But we won't allow something to happen suggests power that no man has. No president of any country has the power. No human being has the power to control the future. The future is a series of hopes and unknowns over which we have very limited control. And it's important to say that out loud. I am not God. I can do my best, and that's all I can do. I cannot determine future events. I don't care what my title is. I don't care how big my army is. The future is a series of hopes and unknowns, period. And I'd say that now. I've said that to the president. He's not the first president I've said that to. It's just a fact. And the way that leaders get into trouble is by imagining that their desires are the same as commands. I want you to do this is a valid thing to say. I will do everything in my power to make you do this. Fine. I am going to control what you do is impossible. So the bottom line is we don't have the power to determine. I wish we did. We don't. No country does. We do not have the power to determine whether or not Iran has the bomb. That's beyond our power. That's not a pro-Iranian statement. It's not an anti-Israel or anti-American. It's just a fact.
Well, you have the power to attack militarily.
Well, exactly. That's the power you have. You have the power to attack. To take out the nuclear sites you hope. And if that's the course you're choosing, then it becomes a very specific conversation about your military capabilities. What would it take to take those out? What would it take for them to rebuild them? What would it take for them to buy a nuclear weapon from, say, Pakistan or North Korea? I mean, there are all kinds of ways to get nuclear weapons. All I'm saying is any wise course of action begins with a sober and honest assessment of your own power. What am I capable of doing? How much power do I actually have? And when you lie to yourself about how much power you actually have, you get into very serious trouble. That's called hubris, and it's the downfall of every empire. It's the destruction of every great man. It's why you sleep with your assistant. You're like, I deserve this. No one will find out.
All right. So by Tucker's logic, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, as opposed to we cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So from one end of the spectrum, I'm thinking from Tucker's logic, let's just go by always saying Iran can't have a nuclear weapon and do absolutely nothing. Does that mean Iran's going to get a nuclear weapon? For sure they are. Us going Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, or they should not have a nuclear weapon, is majorly different from we can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon. And Tucker's going, well, if we say we can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon, that's a power that no man ever has. Hello, we just showed Iran that America has the power to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities. That's a power that they certainly did have. And what happened? Iran did nothing. We didn't go to war. It was like a 12-day little conflict, as it would seem, between mostly Israel, not the US. The US basically came in and finished the bloody job. Combined efforts. But Tucker's logic is, I'm going to rant and say, well, I don't want Iran to get a nuclear bomb. All right, Tucker, fantastic. But what are you going to do about it when they actually get a nuclear bomb? Because all you're saying is we can't allow them. We can't let them, but we've got too much power on our hands. And that power no man ever possesses. Hello, mate. Hello. You got the president of the United States. You got America, the largest military in the entire bloody world. They do have the power, and they showed everyone they do have the power to control who gets a nuclear bomb and who doesn't, meaning Iran can't have one. And we showed them this is what we're going to do. You know what's interesting to me is Tucker, he's one of those lying ramblers, and it annoys me. Now, here's a moment for you all. I want to show it to you. He's caught off guard when the interviewer asked him, but Trump said you apologized to him on the phone. Have a watch what Tucker says.
Trump said you apologized to him on the phone. Is that true?
Okay. No.
No, it's not true.
No, I will say this. I mean, yeah, great. I don't care. I really like Trump. I campaigned for Trump. Just to say it again, I agree with Trump. I have agreed with Trump on the issues. I don't. I'd be happy. I'm the first to apologize because I am the most mindful of my limits and my own absurdities and the nonsense that I have spouted over the years. Like, I don't think I'm God. And so I'm happy to apologize. And you can ask anyone who knows me. I'm an apologizer.
So you're apologizing now publicly. Do I understand
what I
right?
apologize for. I didn't attack Trump then. I disagreed with him. And I said how I wasn't, I didn't say, I don't think anything that would warrant an apology.
Sure, I'm the first to apologize, but I'll not actually admit that I did apologize to Trump. And also, I don't care. How about that? Oh, Trump said you apologized. No, I did no such thing. How dare you, sir, accuse me of apologizing to Trump? Oh, but I like Trump. I campaigned for Trump. Goodness me, Tucker Carlson. Guy's an absolute nutter. Anyway, here we'll finish on this. This is the longest one about what I was alluding to in the very beginning about homogenous European country is not a threat. It's a necessity. So we're going to have the same kind of Europe that Tucker is alluding to, but he won't say that Islam is a threat. Have a watch of this.
Let me finish. A small number of propagandists on the internet decided to paint him as a Nazi. Now, why did they do that? Because there are all kinds of lessons that we drew from World War II that are false. And why does that matter? It matters because the Western order, the post-war order, is based on those assumptions. And one of the key assumptions, and it's destroyed your country, and I hope you reverse it, is that it is a threat to the world when a homogenous European white Christian country exists. That's just not true, okay? And it's on the basis of that assumption.
But if he says
your country and Western Europe has been destroyed by mass migration.
But
That's
there's a different
fact.
topic. But if he says that Nazis simply didn't know how to take care for that many people, I mean,
he wasn't talking about the Holocaust, dude. So that's just a fact, and you can ask him, and he's been asked a million times, and his answer is really, really clear. I'm not denying that the Germans rounded up and murdered Jews. What? I'm not.
Well, it's about the plan. So he said it was more like the Wannsee conference. No, I'm not reading. I mean, I was listening to it. Yeah.
By the way,
yeah.
I could also say, I'm not responsible for Daryl Cooper's views.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I just interviewed the president of Iran. I'm not a Shiite. You know what I mean? And you can ask Daryl Cooper, who'd be happy to take your call, I'm sure. What I'm interested in is the current state of Europe. And as a lifelong traveler to Europe, who has family in Europe, whose ancestors are from Europe, who believes in European Christian culture and has watched it be destroyed over the last 120 years since 1914, I'm wondering, like, how the hell did this happen and how do we fix it? Because I really care about it, okay? And I think that one of the factors, not the only factor, but one of the factors in the destruction of Europe was this lesson that our leaders internalized, and you were clearly taught it at school, that a homogenous country in Western Europe is a threat to world peace. That is an actual assumption that I think everyone in Europe has just sort of imbibed. And I think it is factually false and incredibly destructive. And it's the reason that Europe is increasingly non-European. And I find it so wild that you're not allowed to say that it's considered somehow Nazi or racist to say, like, what percentage of Germany will be German? And the answer in 100 years, and the answer is probably less than half. Is that okay with you? This is the indigenous population of the country. Then the question is like, well, I mean, we're all Germans. This is crazy. There's no other part of the world that is held to this absurd fantasy standard where, you know, it doesn't matter if the majority of the country is actually from that country, whose ancestors built the country, created the language, the culture, the music, the art. It's just like, shut up, Nazi. And where does that come from? That's where we are right now. Everyone is totally afraid. I am just so proudly anti-Nazi that I don't feel guilty saying it. It's just true. And why can't we say it? We can't say it because of that lesson that we learned. And it's a false lesson. So, like, there are lots of false lessons that we learned from history. It's not the only one, but it's important to tell the truth, don't you think? Or no one in the media thinks it's important to tell the truth. The second you say something is true, they're like, shut up. Look, he was denying the Holocaust. No, he wasn't.
And Tucker, if you're so worried about European Christian culture, why won't you call out the real problem? The real problem is not mass immigration. The real problem stems from the religion of Islam, which results in mass immigration. So you've got to get to the actual root cause of the issue. You have Islamists that go, we want to take over the Western world. We're going to go and immigrate over there because the West allows us in. Christian countries. You got to ask yourself the question, why are Muslims going to Christian countries in the first place? Hello? But to Tucker, he won't call out the Islamists. He won't call out the atrocities. I've never seen him do that. He won't say it. Instead, he'll use the word homogenous European country is not a threat. It's a necessity. So a Christian country is not a threat at all. But I won't say that an Islamic country is a threat to the West. Won't call that out. And then also they're talking about Daryl Cooper. Now, keep in mind, this is the same Tucker Carlson that said to everyone that Daryl Cooper is the most honest historian. Recently interviewed him about Jeffrey Epstein. Don't know if you guys saw that. And this is also the same Daryl Cooper that has lied to the skin of his teeth about, well, Hitler was apparently the good guy in World War II and Churchill was not. Churchill was the bad guy. So the thing is, the lies are becoming ever more present. And the more Tucker talks, the more you can see his lies. And it's amazing to actually watch them all unfold. It really is. It's quite concerning too. Change history. This new woke right phenomenon, if you want to call it that. I just call it bad faith individuals lying through the skin of their teeth. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.